Good
That's
afternoon,
funny.
good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the AM show. A little interview we're doing here with the founder of CryptoHoots. Owls has joined us up on the AlphaMint stage. He's been kind enough to give us about an hour of his time, so we're going to be talking all things crypto NFTs, and in particular their project. They have a couple of different collections up on OpenSea that we'll be discussing, as well as a suite of tools that they've been working on, some interesting DAO stuff that they're working on, and I'm sure a lot more to come. So I'm really excited to have you up here, Owls, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm always excited for these kind of things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's super easy. Like we said in the pre-show, it's pretty casual. We just like to have a good conversation and have some fun here. Nothing too serious, but yeah, it's going to be a great talk, and I know we've been looking forward to it. And it was set up by our mutual friend Vincenzo, so I appreciate him doing that as well. So
Me too.
let's ease into the conversation and just do the really standard, like, how did you end up here? Like NFTs, crypto, like what's the 2 minute story of like how you went from your normal life into this whirlwind that we call crypto and NFTs.
Sure. So I started mining Bitcoin in 2011,
Oh wow.
um, super early, and that I realized that there was definitely something there. Um, it felt foolish a little bit at the time because Bitcoin was like under $1, and but it was just so cool. Like I remember buying crypto and like Bitcoin in person for cash from other miners and collecting it and losing bunches or spending hundreds of Bitcoin on stupid things. But essentially from that point on, I was totally hooked by crypto. And then I learned about Ether in like 2016. So like I missed the initial offering on Bitcoin Talk, sadly, but started buying Ether when it was single digits and haven't stopped. I still buy Bitcoin too. NFTs, like I learned about crypto kitties, and I remember thinking that these were kind of dumb.
I thought
And,
the same thing too. Actually, that's when I was in crypto, as that early 2017 Ethereum pump, and then into crypto kitties. But sorry to cut you off, but I
no,
was in
no
the same
problem.
same camp.
So like that was my first exposure to NFTs and pretty much my last until this year. Like I knew what CryptoPunks were, but I remember looking at them earlier in the year and they were like a couple of ETH, and I was like, this is so stupid. Like who would spend like 5 ETH on this pixel art? Um, but NFTs kept growing, and I kept seeing more and more of like the community element, as well as eventually like kind of the DeFi that's built around them, because DeFi really captured me this year as well, specifically around like Ethereum staking, and that's where our initial Crypto Hoots community came from, which would be the Rocket Pool staking Discord. So all of the team were involved with this decentralized Ethereum staking protocol, and almost all of the initial community members came over. The initial Crypto Hoot community members came over from there because we kind of publicly came up with this idea of, hey, let's make like an owl project. Like it kind of started just from my username and that weird whales thing that kid made, like the little whale PFPs that sold out immediately. And I was like, we could probably do something with owls. Like it's not a common character type. And then our developer was like, well, let's make them steampunk. And that was a really good idea. This all happened within like 30 seconds. And from that point on, like I DM'd him immediately and we started working on Crypto Hoots in, I would say that was like early July, maybe late June. And so that's kind of where, how I got here. And from that point on, obviously, I did a deep dive into NFT communities and was still pretty. I still didn't have a lot of visibility until like post launch, because like one of the things that really opened my eyes was like I wasn't sure we would sell. I had no like indication that we were going to mint out, especially. And then all of a sudden, like all these people from this Discord called like CyberKongs showed up in our Discord, and we had no idea who these people were, and they just like bought all of the hoots right off the bat. And I was like, well, I got to learn more about this, and that's really where I started diving into like the community aspect and the value of like, yeah, maybe I should buy a baby Kong for 5 ETH just to get into a Discord server. Like I would say 6 months ago or a year ago, that would seem like a horribly stupid idea. But now I can see the value on why people do that because I also did it. Um, and so it's just there's a ton of interesting like community building that occurs in the NFT space that isn't easily replicated in the real world. Um, Except, like, maybe it's kinda like being, like, a member of a private golf club or something for people that do that. It's like the Web3 version of private club membership.
These are the new social networks. And that's a great analogy. I think this is exactly like belonging to a country club. Everybody goes and parties in the dining room, and you talk about what stock tips or what businesses you're opening and who can help and who could benefit and who should get access to the products first. I think it's a great analogy. And I think this is such a great use case for NFTs and then products like Discord. It is no mystery why they got a $10 billion round B or whatever series they were raising with this thing. It is these are the new social networks. Go ahead.
They are, and it's hard to explain to people that aren't involved in the space, but when you're in it, you can tell that, like, there's definitely something special there, even if we're not fully seeing the end game. Because like, I'm I'm in my 30s. I remember a time before the internet, but, like, if when the internet was new, you could not explain the impact it would have on the world as it is today, and I think that NFTs and crypto are also in that place. Like, there's probably no way for me to accurately predict the impact it's gonna have in the way our world operates in 10 or 20 years.
Yeah, I mean the analogy between the early internet and crypto today is often used, but I think that's just because it's so poignant about that. Is that us as like this early group of adopters, and I mean let's face it, we are still an early group of adopters. I know the "we are early" is such a trope in this space at this point, but it really is, and you're so right about the fact that like we probably aren't even imagining the ways that it actually can impact it. We just have that sense that there's something big on the horizon about it, and it's super cool. I didn't even realize you'd been in crypto for so long, but that's pretty amazing too.
I love it. Yeah. And like I couldn't have predicted DeFi in 2011, you know. There's and I guess also like I'm going to preface this by saying like I'm not that smart. I'm not like a giant giga brain person. So for me, maybe it's easy to miss these things.
No, for sure. I was actually just listening to an interview with the one of the co-founders of Ethereum and MetaMask, and they said when they were putting this all together too, they knew that they were building something incredibly important. They didn't know what. You know what I mean? They knew that they were going to unlock and enable a whole new class of financial networks and whatnot. But even as Vitalik said, NFTs are probably the most surprising thing to come out of it.
But I think that's important for like a platform. If you build a platform well, you shouldn't have the ability to predict what your users will create because ideally you give them the tools to do something that you would never expect. And I mean that shows that it's a mature, well-built platform.
Yeah, not
That's so
unlike the
well
internet.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of tools, I think some of the coolest angles here to crypto hoots are the tools that owning one gives you access to. You want to tell us a little about them?
Yeah, I mean that yeah, definitely segues into exactly what we're trying to do. So, when making crypto hoots, we realized that a lot of the publicly available tools for generative art weren't appropriate. Things like the cache lips, which are great, but we decided to build something from the ground up that was visual, like web based, now Web3 based, to allow you to import your art, create kind of groupings, create combos that are more complex than just simple weighting or blacklisting, and generate a series either ahead of time, and like let's say you want to make 2,500 hoots, um, export all of them out after you review them, or actually just plug it into an API so that you can do generation on Mint, which is what we did, which worked for us. But we also realized that some projects you really want to kind of go through each piece before you say upload them all to IPFS. So we made this tool for ourselves, and we realized that, let's say about halfway through development, um, that it was something that we could market. I remember I was talking like early on, we didn't have many people on Twitter, and I was trying to talk to crypto Twitter people, and obviously most people never even replied. But I like sent a DM to like Josh Ong, um, and he just basically came back with these like great questions of like, to be successful, you have to know what makes your project special, and like, do you know what that is? And I said, well, I'm going to think about it. Right, I'll get back to you. And I thought about it, and we talked with the team, and I realized that we built this whole thing for ourselves that other people would want to use, and like that is something that was special. It's not kind of in the meta that exists now of like the breeding and the token and that stuff, which we're doing as well. But a lot of people are doing that. No one else is creating a tool to let artists make their own generative NFT projects. And so that's what we did. It should be out this week, actually. We have our first partner project launching on Sunday. Um, and since we came up with the idea of the tool, we kind of segued and built on top of it into like a partnership, because a lot of people might only have the art skills but not want to deploy smart contracts or not know how to do the front end, even though we're releasing all of our code. So we're slowly building into like almost a studio where I'm trying to pull in developers and artists and that could aid projects that are in kind of like early stages. And at that point, we'll give them, they'll have access to our tool, which right now is only gated by owning a Hoot. It's like Web3 auth, a Hoots in your wallet, you have full access. Um, but for people that want more help or that want to partner with us, we are doing like a partnership program where it's very similar to hiring any other developer. We get a portion of our mint, their mint, in return for kind of a high level of support. And then that developed into the planning for our upcoming Shuffle DAO, which is, I think, probably the most exciting thing we're doing, and the thing that makes me feel like most excited for Hoots and the community, since it's like the most excited I've been since before we even launched. I think that this is like the true great idea that we have, because it combines everything that we've been working on. And I see some people here that have been in our internal planning channels, but essentially the idea of the DAO is it's a full actual DAO with an actual governance token, not the utility token associated with Hoots, that's currently Twigs. This will be Mints is the current name, and it's ideally going to function like a incubator for NFT projects. We will store the ETH that we earn in the treasury. We can give mints to projects that want to launch as an incentive to their holders. Um, and then the ETH that we earn, we can use in traditional DeFi, like staking and liquid staking protocols, to earn yield there. And every Hoot in existence can be staked to earn potentially a portion of the treasury proceeds. And that, I think, is pretty awesome. And they'll have a voice. So we're looking at platforms like, Ohm, Squid DAO, Nouns, for kind of our DeFi tokenomics, but we want to make them very not Ponzi-ish, I guess. This is the best way I can put it, because Ohm still sketches me out a little. But I love the idea of some of their DeFi 2 stuff, like protocol own liquidity is a great idea. Bonding is also a really good idea, and staking, of course, to lock up tokens that are produced. So if we take the currency that is NFTs, which is Ethereum, and that is 100% our base currency, our goal is to take in ETH from the treasury, both from hopefully nouns like auctions, all of our partner projects that are giving us a portion of their proceeds, and bonding, and essentially using that to continue funding new NFT projects that might need the help. Um, I don't know. I think it's a great idea, but maybe I'm biased.
Well, no, I mean, it's important to think what you're working on is a great idea, for sure. Yeah, and I'm just kind of following along, and some of the stuff looks really cool. I was just messing around with your generator there as you were talking about it, and the Shuffle DAO is interesting too. And that's going to be using the two existing collections you have on OpenSea right now. Those are
Correct.
the staking for the tokens.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the version you're using of Shufflemint is like a very early alpha, just
Hmm.
to put that out there. But yeah, essentially, if you look at it like you can stake the tokens themselves, right? And earn more of the tokens. You can stake the Hoots themselves and earn a portion of bonding revenue. And you can stake daily NFT auctions if we go that nouns model way and earn a portion of bonding revenue. So Hoot holders would actually have the ability for like a sustained amount of bonding revenue. And the more projects that we incubate that pay the DAO, the more we have in our treasury, the more yield we earn, the more valuable each Hoot is, right? Because like I want Hoots to be like the core of our protocol because they're the people that got us to this point, if that makes sense. Like on one level, we could say, okay, like we'll deliver breeding and metaverse like we promised, and then the team is going to focus on our DAO and our product that is taking a lot of time, and that would be acceptable. I'm sure a lot of people maybe want to do that, but we look at it like the people that bought Hoots at any price heading from mint on are the people that basically funded us and gave us the support to be working on this project. And I think that that means that they are an integral part of it, you know?
Yeah, I find this kind of low key brilliant as every I think person has experienced who is in NFTs. You go on these journeys and your first journey is like, whoa, what the hell is this? This is crazy, right? And your second journey is I'm a speculator, an investor, and I'm going to invest in things that moon. But the longer you're in it, the more you go, hey, I kind of want to try this. I want to make a project. I want to do something, but the barrier to entry can be daunting if you don't know anything about generative art, how you would make a project so large. I think this is pretty low key brilliant, the utility you've attached to these hoots.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that like just the access for just an artist to mess around and do something, maybe they don't have a lot of time to organize devs or build their own team, or even if it's just a small passion project and stuff like that. Now, does the Shuffle Mint does that include the underlying like smart contract that's needed to operate on the Ethereum network? Like, is that it's
Yes. So we're including all our smart contracts that we used, as well as we're gonna be adding in the feature for like almost one-click deployment. That needs a bit more testing. So that won't be with launch this week, but we will be providing our contracts, and you can explain to people how to use them. But our goal is first to get contract deployment automatically in the app on Rinkeby, so like a test net, and then after that mainnet, because of all the pieces that we have to make sure works perfectly, it's that. Like, we don't want anyone to deploy a contract from our DApp and that contract be problematic for them, right? I don't want to cost anyone ETH, um, but we will be helping there. Our contract was very good, and it's simple. Most simple ERC 721 mint contracts aren't too complex to deploy, but we don't want to make a mistake there. But yeah, ideally, our end goal, which is what we're shooting for pretty soon, is that someone with just art skills can use it, deploy the contract, and like release an NFT without knowing solidity at all.
Yeah, no, I mean that's it's one of the biggest gaps that need to be filled, and like you see the advent of like no code stuff come to fruition in like the more like Web 2.0 areas and stuff like that, and app building, website building, and all of that, where maybe there's a little bit more control to be had by having your own dev team or your own programming or software development skills. But if that's not really what you're looking for, and you just simply want to focus on your art, and I mean, I'm sure you can build more tools in underneath it as well, but I think that's an incredibly powerful thing that you're making. I think that's really cool, man.
Thanks. Yeah, and to be clear, like the only thing you need to use it is a hoot. Only if people want to partner with the DAO. Like, you only partner with the DAO if you want to, right? If you want that extra support, or if you want mint tokens, because like one of the things that we've been looking at is how you can incentivize projects without having to create your own token. Because like utility is the thing that people talk about all the time on new releases, and more often than not, that just boils down to I want a token to pump my bags or to have value or passive income, a very dirty word there. Um, but if you could have a project give, let's say they make 600 ETH, and 100 of that goes to the DAO, and they get 100 ETH of governance tokens in return from the DAO treasury reserves. It's like kind of cross promotion that vest, and those each NFT has a sliver of that, ideally equaling to around the same value of the price of the NFT themselves. Would that give buyers the comfort to actually maybe ape into a project where they liked the art, but were unsure about the roadmap? And would that give developers the ability to focus on interesting mechanics that don't exist because they no longer have to just try and crank out a token and mechanics to burn that token to make sure that the token retains value? And I think putting more like power in the side of the creators and the developers to work on new mechanics and not worry about their floor and not worry about utility in the token sense could be really cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just flipping through your pages here, following along with you and whatnot. And it's like I'm really intrigued to continue looking at this and continue following this. So let's talk about the community that you have around Hoots as well, because I see some joined us in here. I saw a bunch of them ape into well, not ape into, but dive into AlphaMint last night when you posted the announcement and whatnot. So you've had obviously some longtime supporters that have jumped in, and are they excited to be using the tools as well? What's the vibe around the Hoots culture?
I think the vibe is pretty good right now. We have a small community because we're a small collection, and the people that are active today have been strong supporters since day one almost. We really have a lot of people with diamond hands now, especially since our price went up to like 3 ETH for a brief moment during the mania of the bull market, and then now back down to like zero point 0.3 or maybe less now. Um, the people that held on do believe in the vision and have been huge supporters, both like just like from cheerleading standpoint, but also from the standpoint of helping us guide the direction that the project has been taking. And so, we have a lot of like our community adds a lot of value to us as a team, as well as to the new people that join. And I really don't think we could have done much better. The only thing that I want is more. I want more community members, and I think that that will happen in time, especially once we do like breeding and we actually add more of a shufflement type, like a section in our community for people that just want to partner with the DAO or the tool, or ask questions about NFT development. But that's the only thing I want is more people like I already have. And I imagine if we get more and more successful, I will miss the times that we have right now with like a I know everyone.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to always see some familiar faces, and then you could welcome them, and then all of a sudden it ramps up to this point where you're just trying to keep up with all of the new faces that are jumping in as well. So yeah, no, I mean, I think if you guys continue to build, that it will continue to follow, right? Like you clearly had some success in the past. The NFT the winter, the bear market kind of hit everyone pretty hard, and it wasn't exclusive to you, so no, don't need to feel bad about that. But yeah, I mean, I think you have a lot of interesting stuff on the horizon, and then just getting your word out and getting your message out is kind of all that needs to happen, and I'm sure it'll be a good run for you guys.
I think so. I think once we get this in people's hands, like once I can talk about it all day, right? But once someone can touch it in a state that's much more developed than the one you're doing now, it's going to click for people. It didn't click for me until I used it, and I think that that will be, the same for a lot of folks that might be sitting on the sidelines of Hoots or not even aware of it, but are looking to release a generative project.
These hoots are good looking too. I am just scrolling through OpenSea. right
Thank
now.
you. Yeah,
But
I love how they look. I think we did RPL Grime, our artist, and Equal Partner, did an amazing job with the art, and he's just such an asset to have.
the nighttime ones, those are the ones I'm looking at right now, the ones with the moon and the stars in the background. Sick.
Yeah,
Very
those
cool.
backgrounds didn't even exist until like 2 days before Mint. Like,
Ha.
yeah,
Wow.
like we went through so many backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking
It's
at
not
these like,
a generative project, right? R2 talks about it from time to time.
what's that? Sorry, I cut you off.
Just making sure that your color palettes and your backgrounds don't clash with any of your assets as it's made, because it can be tough to get your backgrounds to look good on every single asset you've created. So
Yeah,
uh, they look.
that was a huge challenge. Like
Mhm.
you hit the nail on the head. I feel like we went back and forth on backgrounds more than almost any other element.
Yeah, because when it's done right, I think people really gravitate, towards those really nice backgrounds because it looks rarer and they're just very nice pieces. But yeah, it's tough to pull off once we're talking about in the thousands. That's why these GONs, I mean, it's so interesting. The whole generative art movement and, giving access to these tools to just your average schmo, someone like me, is really cool. So
Yeah, I'd
I
love for you to release a project.
Ha! Awesome. I am looking through these crypto hoots right now. I will keep you updated.
Yep.
If you caught free market at a good time, he's been on a bit of a spending spree
Okay.
lately. He's been making it rain on the back of a nice little CloneX win. As we were kind of joking about, he's slowly creeping up to 100 lemons as well. So it's been a fun few days for him too. So, but yeah, actually going back to that conversation that we were having, the pre, like you're a little bit, you got some degen in you too.
Oh yeah.
You like shopping for the JPEGs. What projects do you have on your radar right now?
So right now, my most recent trade was I got whitelisted for two hooligans and
Nice.
flipped them both today, at like 0.45 and like point 0.4. And
Yeah.
that was like, I feel okay about it. We were joking earlier that I'm definitely one of those people where as soon as I sell something, it's going to moon. I also do really bad on after mint purchases on OpenSea.
Hmm.
So I bought the like the coven, the crypto coven
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
with the
that's been the
witches,
talk of the town. Yeah.
and then immediately paper handed it like immediately within like 30 minutes. I bought one at like 0.11 and then sold at 0.17 or 0.13 or I don't know, whatever it worked out to after fees was like break even. And that's just like I'm bad at trading JPEGs, man. I've learned that. I do not I don't do well with projects that I don't want to hold. And so like my main holds right now are Hoots. I have a baby Kong. I have a ton of fur balls. And that's pretty much it. I have a baby mouse. Um, and these toddler pillars. Have you guys seen the toddler pillars?
Yeah.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
They're like grotesque babies with lots of arms.
Yes.
Loose purchased. That was one of Loose's first NFT purchases.
What
Yeah.
a way to jump into the NFT space too with that. That's right. That's right. I was
Well,
wondering
they
where
haven't
that came up
released
from.
BTS NFT yet, so that was her only option.
So I have
Yeah.
a couple toddler pillars, and I'm just waiting for the VX models, and I want to terrorize the sandbox, and that's what I tell myself. I'm holding for that.
We're gonna be a gang of lemons, and all of a sudden we see this giant centipede baby coming.
It's like Goro or something is what it reminds
Yes,
me of from
yes.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's right. I gotta find these on the OpenSea collection and pull them up there. That's hilarious. But oh my God.
How about you guys? Other than lemons, what should I buy?
Well, I
Well,
mean, other than lemons, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna let free market take this away.
well,
He's all over the purchasing right now.
yeah, no. I think the big project that I talk about a lot, that I have a lot of passion for, are Begone Punks or Bastard Punks. They're sitting at a 0.23 floor right now. They were the original anti-punk. I believe they are they bring the punk movement forward, and it's not a knockoff, it's a derivative. I think they look better than punks. And while this is a very long-term play for me that I think will play out over a few years, with the recent funk phenomenon that's going
Mhm.
on, where there's this anti-punk movement and people are buying these mirror image funks, which really took no effort to make. And I don't want to knock it because I've always been a bit of an anti-punk myself, so I appreciate the movement. But I believe Burke, aka Princess Camel, is a unrecognized genius. He was the first person to ever employ a GAN in a profile picture project on chain. Bastards are the art blocks of PFPs. They're cheap relative to these other punk derivatives that have been mooning recently because of this. They are the bastard child of the entire punk family, and it's the one I tend to tell people to go for. It's my biggest long-term conviction play. I've been in since mint. I minted them back in March. So
Well, that is a good sell.
cool.
I think I'll pick one up. I picked up like what is it, Puzzle Pack Punks, the free mint.
Okay.
That
Oh,
I
yeah,
have you guys seen them? I like the concept. I mean, they were free. But essentially it's like a pack of cards. The initial NFT looks like a pack of Magic cards or
yeah.
Pokemon
Mhm.
cards unopened. And then you open them up if you want, and it has like all the elements to make one punk kind of. And they have like a Web3 interface that's coming out that lets you kind of assemble punks based on the pieces that you have in each pack.
Oh,
I don't
Interesting.
know. I'm not saying it's a money-making purchase, but it's
No,
an
yeah.
interesting mechanic.
I
I
haven't
love
seen that.
Yeah, I love punk derivatives. Unlike I mean, I think that it is such an iconic part of this NFT movement. It's fun to play with. Like there are obvious cash grabs and ones that are stupid, and you're always gonna have the OG crowd roll their eyes because they just don't have time for it since they all own 80 original CryptoPunks anyway. But
Yeah.
I enjoy them, and I think most of them will be kind of looked at as historic as we go on in the years. And you're all OGs. I know we talk about people from 3 years ago like it, but everyone here is an OG when we look
Yeah.
at the timeline.
Yeah. And like what is it, Larval Labs, they're pretty aggressive on attacking derivatives, which might not
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that
Well,
doesn't help them as much.
no, and
Oh,
and
we've
to
had
be
this conversation so much in the past week or two. Like and I'm not saying that
oh
it's a
yeah.
bad conversation. It's just like it's crazy how fragmented that community is becoming and how quickly people are kind of claiming their sides of the fence and going at each other. And not only are they taking on all derivatives, they're also taking on each other. And Larva Labs has been pretty quiet on stuff, which is maybe not surprising for them. But we also always are throwing out the question, are Bored Apes gonna flip CryptoPunks? What do you think about that?
I think they could, to be honest. It seems like it's
If,
picking up steam.
if you were
Um,
going to buy one right now, this is money you don't have to. You could spend
yeah.
it, but you got to spend it. Which are you buying right now, Punk or Ape?
I think I'd buy an ape, just to see how that is.
Just to see how it feels. It looks
Yeah.
so fun. I gotta
I
try
mean,
one on, right?
if it wasn't for kind of like the FUD and the infighting that I hear about in the punk
Yeah,
community, I would say that the punks, artistically as well as like OG status,
yeah.
represents me more. Like I'm not someone that necessarily would ever go to a yacht party, and so maybe like some of that allure of an ape wouldn't be that valuable to me. But they they seem to at least be unified in their direction, and they're developing a lot. Um, Whereas, punk's not so much, and maybe that's what's good about them is that they're these static things.
Well,
Like
it's a great point because with Bored Apes, you have so much to look like. Yeah, it's worth $250,000, but you got your token, your play to earn game, your yacht parties, there's so much on the roadmap to look forward to that you can't place a value. It could be extremely valuable, who knows? Whereas punks, really the only thing they offer you is the historic significance of the punk itself, and Larva Labs embraces that. I actually applaud them for that. I think their biggest issue is communication because if they tried to be Bored Apes, I think they would fail.
Yeah.
And I just think that punks are punks, and that's why they will always be valuable. Now, the trader in me wants to go buy the FUD. As much as apes have grown on me, and I definitely would feel nice and special and trendy to have one. Given all the FUD around punks, I like to buy when there's blood in the street, and I think I would buy a punk. Though if you had asked me 4 weeks ago, I bet you it would have been an ape. I've changed very recently in my thinking.
So to me, it kind of sounds like punks are Bitcoin and apes are Ethereum. If you're going to compare them to.
Definitely drawn that comparison before.
Yeah.
And it's right. Like they are the OGs. It's stubborn, it's slow moving, and it just is what it is. And Ethereum is growing and developing. And as Free Market said, there's doesn't make one more right than the other. Although I think most people in here are probably on the ETH side of it. But yeah, it's a really interesting discussion, and it's always fun to hear, people outside of our, sometimes I don't want to say we're an echo chamber, but we interact with people mostly in AlphaMint and stuff like that, and we start to take our own narratives and whatnot. So it's always fun to hear what people are talking about outside of it as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting, I don't know, dynamic. And I'll say that I own both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I still love my Bitcoin. It'll always have a special place. So I can see how that would appeal with the punk too, right?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. Like Bitcoin is my crypto unit of measure, right? Like that's my inflow, and like I'm never going to be a maxi of it, but I do think it's important.
For access, if you want to chat with Pranksy, you buy a punk, because he owns 100 apes, but he's not in that chat room all the time. He's in the punk chat room, right? So
Right.
these punks do have utility, but it's in the access, and you have to want access to those people. These aren't basketball stars and celebrities. These are tech nerds and NFT influencers who you got to be pretty niche to care about getting in their good graces. So
A wise man once told me that these are almost like golf club memberships.
Yeah, very wise owl.
Look at that, full circle. We didn't even plan that. The revelation.
Someone left right on that joke. Did you see them?
Yeah, like
they
4
hate
people
you.
were just like, "Oh Christ, this guy again." Welcome to AlphaMint.
Welcome.
That's awesome, man. So you're on the dev side of things. You're developing stuff. You're part of a project that's kind of moving the space forward, which I think is cool. Where do you see NFTs going? Like, let's just like talk about your wildest dreams here, because we talk about the art, we talk about tokenomics, staking things. Like, are you one of those people that can see houses, that the deeds to your house being on NFTs and just like tokenizing the entire world? Do you think that's a crock of shit? Like, where do you stand on that?
I remember when I was at NFT NYC this year, and I was listening to some of these talks, and like, crock of shit is the thought that was going through my mind the most as I was hearing some of these things. But okay, I do see that we will tokenize a lot of things, a lot of the world, either in fungible or non-fungible tokens. I could see a world where things like house deeds and contracts are on the blockchain in NFT form. But I do think that the challenge there is still enforcement, right? So
I know where you're going with this, I think, and I think I'm in agreement. Keep going, yeah.
So like, just because it's not a piece of paper, but instead is an NFT, like you still have to enforce your ownership somehow if something goes wrong. So that's like a court or a government body, or like the police if it's an eviction. So you still, it doesn't solve the inherent problems that come with ownership in the physical space, yet at least. And some of this could be like me not having the foresight to fully grasp like where this is going to go, as we talked about earlier. But I do think that when you have digital items representing physical ownership, there's still some kind of level of physical law or like physical presence that needs to exist to enforce that ownership. Whereas in digital spaces, if we have digital items representing other digital things, digital identity, in-game items, currency, a presence on a board, or let's say a DAO. These are the things that are much lower friction and much more, I think, interesting to the NFT space. Those are the things that I see happening more and more. Um, and I think more of our world is moving digital. Like we'll have this physical presence, and it'll require a lot of the legacy kind of infrastructure to support it. Um, but NFTs can really be kind of the cornerstone of our digital identity, the cornerstone of our digital access, um, in ways that, like a username or a password does not. And like what that will actually develop into, I'm curious about. We already are seeing it, right? There's much more new communities that developed. It reminds me of like message boards in the '90s or like
Mhm.
BBSs, and then you had like sites like Reddit kind of take over, or social like media networks, where even if it's attached to your real name or a username, you don't really feel that level of connection. Either you're just putting stuff out there, like on Twitter or Instagram or something, hoping to get kind of like this positive feedback back, or you're just like kind of interacting with people you already know. Whereas these NFT communities, you are now kind of creating a new identity, and you have this new PFP representation of that identity, and like how much does that change who our physical identity is? Like, I feel like as a person, I've changed since being more involved in NFT communities. Like my attitudes, my belief structure, my language. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe I've rambled, but
No, I
No.
think that's so well said. I think when you're investing in an NFT project, you can look at a few things, right? The art, the roadmap, and the team. And there's really only one of them. Art is subjective. The roadmap is a promise, so we don't know if it's going to happen. But the team, you can start analyzing that from the moment you get in the Discord and they start putting out information about the project. And honestly, just hearing you speak has made me super bullish on CryptoHoots and the way that you see the NFT market. Human beings are a lot better at predicting the future than we think we are. And we see the potential in things and pull those gains forward to the point where it can take 40 years to ever reach that. But I mean, we saw it with the internet, right? In the internet bubble, you saw it with RCA radio in the 20s and 30s. People knew radio was going to take over the world. They bid RCA stock up to 10,000 times earnings, and it didn't get up to a market cap close to that for 40 years after that. So we don't, when we talk about house deeds going on NFTs and all these fabulous ideas we can do with them, I think it's people getting ahead of themselves. And I think some of them will be true. But again, those are solutions in search of a problem type of situations. So I'm in agreement with you there that those are a little
Yeah.
far out. Yeah.
Yeah, me too, actually. And I'm of the mindset, and I think we're in agreement with this too, that there doesn't necessarily need to be a lot of physical component to this. Like, we're marching towards the metaverse, the pseudonymous economy. Like you said, you have your online identity and you have your physical identity, and they don't necessarily have to be interoperable. Like, you are allowed to be, like, I can be R2D Gen online, and I can be, my normal self in person, and there doesn't have to be a crossover, especially if you are adamant that there shouldn't be. So in terms of like house deeds and stuff like that, I always thought it was an interesting concept when people brought it out, because at the end of the day, if my wallet got hacked and someone stole my house deed, like, I'm doing the Leo DiCaprio thing in Wolf of Wall Street. Like, I'm not fucking leaving. This is my house, right? And
right.
and you can't govern over that on the blockchain, because it's not, you can't just hit the reset button. You can't have a judge go like, nope, like, if you can just burn that house deed and reissue a new one, then what the fuck was the point in the first place? But like, I think, when you're talking about the pseudonymous economy and you talk about going to work for people and work with people online, the implications and the potential become absolutely limitless, and I think very enabling in terms of operating in that world. So yeah, I think a lot of what you said really struck a chord with me there. So I thought that was really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I just there's a lot of potential, and like an example. once again, I'm going to go back into like our DAO. Imagine you've bought an NFT and then down the line you realize essentially it gives you like a board membership seat to an NFT production studio where you have rights to voice your opinion on what projects could be produced by that production company. And like that's a value that exists in a Web3 space in a decentralized org. Um, that someone would not predict ever, I would say. Like no one would think I buy this owl and oh, it's going to give me kind of potential voting rights on projects that develop down the line. And at this point, it's not much. Like it's just we have maybe 10 projects in the pipeline, which is great. But like, what if you were investing in like MGM Studios before it was MGM Studios, and you have a seat at the table? Like, what is the value there, maybe to you personally, or like down the line to someone else? Like, if you needed enough votes to get your movie made, who would buy the thing that gives you votes? And that would be like maybe other studios or artists or managers. And like that's kind of a crossover from the physical space and like the physical way business is done into a new digital space that uh, no one could have predicted. And once again, I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is just like a pie in the sky example of what could happen just through an interesting mechanic.
I think at the end of the day, even, looking back, that pie in the sky prediction ends up being like, and I'm not saying this is of yours, but like, ends up being small potatoes because,
Yep.
where people saw the internet going is I'm sure the wildest dreams wouldn't have gotten us to this point, right? Like,
Yeah. Right.
um,
Like I
y-
might not be able to do it. Like CryptoHoots might not succeed doing it, even though we're going to try. But like someone is,
sure, yeah.
and there's always going to be someone doing more.
Well, you watch shit like the old like Star Trek TV shows or stuff like that. Like aside from the giant fucking spaceships that they have, like a lot of the technology that we have is actually like almost more advanced. Like the walking around with like an iPhone or something, right? Like those are not too long ago straight out of science fiction, and we got there probably at a fraction of the time that people thought that would happen. So yeah, I mean I think the space just keeps on trucking, and talking to you, I'm so excited that there's people in this space like you that are continuing moving that forward, because it makes me like Free Market said, just incredibly bullish for where we're going.
Thanks. Yeah, we have to move forward, right? Like the meta changes so quick between the time when we developed CryptoHoots to when we launched. Like staking and breeding were not that common. It was like a cyberkongs thing, and like by now it's like on every roadmap, right? You have staking, breeding, metaverse on almost every PFP project, and that's cool. Like I think Hoots as a character and as like a lore would be super cool in the metaverse, and we like hired a new artist to start working on it, and it's a piece, but it's not the thing that drives the project into like another level. Like you're gonna not have another punks that exist just as art, most likely. You're not gonna have another board apes that are just existing as like community and parties and celebrity like appeal. Like these things, I firmly believe that you can't reproduce or capture the magic from another successful project just doing what they're doing.
Yeah, it seems to be like the first movers in the meta are the ones that really get the carry forward and a long line of success, and then there's some people that tend to follow. But yeah, I think just originality and some foresight is very well rewarded in this space. So I'm really excited for you guys and the tools that you have or you're about to release very soon. We're running at about 50 minutes here now. Free Mark, is there anything you wanted to touch on?
No, this has really been a great interview. Like I said, I am shopping me a crypto hoot right now. I think it would be great if anyone has maybe some questions and they'd like to ask about this project. If you guys want to put your hands up, we can do that. But I really wanted to thank Owls for coming on and just having such a great conversation. When you can talk with somebody so easily, who seems so fluent in crypto native stuff. It's a real pleasure. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah. Are you cool with about 10 more minutes if anybody wants to jump up on the stage and talk?
Of course.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and just to fill some time here, if anybody or while we're waiting for anybody to put their hands up, but yeah, we intentionally try not to have too much conversation before the interview. Like, we had your website and the OpenSea pages to the collections and whatnot, but you get a lot of really great conversation coming out of doing it live, and it's always fun to have somebody up here, as Free Market kind of mentioned, that's so fluent and knowledgeable in the space, and can actually just shoot the shit about crypto and NFTs, just because it ends up being such a good conversation. Like, so excited to post this and let people listen to it whenever they want. So Joker Del Mar rocking a CryptoHoots PFP as well.
Is that
So
a robot crypto owl? Jeez.
Yeah,
Go
those are
deep.
the rare ones. Robot with like the Starry Night background. One of my favorite combos.
Oh, so nice.
Yep, and this is an alpha, so thanks
Yeah.
to LFO for that.
Yeah.
before I cut you off, I just wanted to also say that in the AM show chat, which is is for Moon Lounge members, but I just wanted to relay it to you. But one of our mods, Shubang, just aped into the CryptoHoots and bought an NFT. So you sold him.
Yeah, really, really great. Awesome. Cool. Joker, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So I actually don't have a question, but I kind of just had my I want to share some of my thoughts. If I think I won't take more than 2 minutes, so I'll get other people also a chance to ask any question. So I've been with CryptoHoots since day one, and it was probably one of my first NFTs. Yeah, so been with them, and I've like held on to my Hoots. It was like LFO said, it hit like 3 ETH, never sold them, not selling it now. So just wanted to share a real quick story. This is a kind of an embarrassing story because last week I was kind of my wallet was hacked and I lost all my crypto. However, what was amazing after that was the LFO and the rest of the Hoot community stepped up and they secured my Hoots. That was the first thing they did. They did it, and then they transferred it to my new Ether wallet. So what I want to say is like this is what defines a community, and saying that the way they treat all the community members is not like, oh, you bought my crypto Hoot, you're off, we don't care about you anymore. It's not like, it's like, wow, we are a family, and it just there's nothing else that can prove more than that. So yeah, thanks to LFO, thanks to the rest of the crypto Hoot community. I really appreciate it. And yeah, this is why I'm gonna just be with this family no matter what. So just want to call that out.
Yeah, it really sucked. Obviously always watch out for scams, and we really have like he had 2 bots. He has 2 bots still, thankfully. Like I don't even own a bot because like I got shut out of Mint and I only have little floor Hoots. So even though he took a huge loss on some of his coins, we were so happy that we were able to like quickly like buy them off of his OpenSea profile for like a locked auction, and like sent a bit of ETH over so that he could transfer other ones, because the hackers were basically watching his wallet, and as soon as any value hit there, it was like a race between using it to send the NFT versus them just draining it. But like we pulled it off. It was super stressful even from my side, and like I know how much it sucks to get hacked. Like I lost 6 ETH to a hack a couple weeks ago as well. It's just it's brutal to have both the highs and the lows of being in the crypto space.
Joker, without too much like specifics or anything, if you want to like talk about it, because we're a community for people of all experience levels, and learning and watching out and having each other's back too, and whatnot. But can you kind of touch on like how that ended up happening, and like maybe some red flags that you should have looked
Sure.
for?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing was I was kind of distracted that day because I was multitasking, and I got this DM from Crypto Hoot, disguised hacker, and it was kind of like, oh, click on this, we are doing a take giveaway, which is so weird. It was one of the lamest phishing thing that happened, and I've like had that before. I've always ignored, and I know it is a scam, but I don't know what happened. My mental state was, I don't know what was going on with it. I just clicked on it. It took me to this website, which popped up my MetaMask. and I keyed in my password. It did not go through, and it asked for the seed phrase, and I like foolishly enough like just copy pasted my seed phrase, which is like the worst thing you can do. It's kind of like, oh, I'm giving you the key to enter my house and do whatever you want. That's what I did. And after that, like within the next 5 minutes, literally everything was gone. All my crypto and everything was gone. So that sucked. What I would recommend using is like Ledger, a hardware wallet. Like I've been sitting on it for quite some time, being lazy to kind of set it up, which is, I think, an expensive lesson for me, like kicking a butt to get that up. So I did that with my new wallet to have the Ledger and also stay away from anything. Nobody's giving you anything for free in this world. So yeah, just be careful. So.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, and definitely not to rub salt in the wound or anything, but
no, absolutely. I'm trying to do that in the Twitter. Also, I'm sharing things, like with people, especially getting hacked. It sucks, but it also kind of, I don't want this happen to other members, in this space. Like there's like these handful of people who are kind of, making this whole crypto space really bad, and it's better to kind of tag them, flag them, block them, do whatever we can from our side and help other folks who are new into the community to not fall for the same trap I did. So yeah. Happy to help.
You. Yeah. It's a good, horrible lesson, but I'm glad you're spreading the word. And I appreciate you telling everyone that, how we try our best to look out for our community, even during bad times.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing to see. I've seen it in multiple communities, and you just really, like you said, no one ever wants to give you anything for free. No one's ever going to DM you to give you money. So everyone be careful. I'm sorry that happened, Joker, but really happy you are part of such a good community because it helped. So
me too. He's been an integral part of our community since day one.
Beautiful.
Amazing. All right. Well, I didn't see any other hands go up, so I think we could probably just start to wrap it up there. Owl, is there anything else you wanted to mention, talk about before we finish up here?
No, I mean, I think I talked about a ton of things. Once again, thanks for having me on. I've really enjoyed talking to both of you, and getting to talk about Hoots, but just NFTs and crypto in general. I had a great time.
Yeah, this was it was a great conversation, and I had a lot of fun. I'm glad that we were able to get this all set up and do it, and we'll definitely keep the channel open with you, for anything else that comes up, and by all means, if some exciting developments continue as you develop your product, keep in touch with us and make sure you let us know too, because I'm sure there will be tons more opportunities to do more of these, or on Twitter or live on YouTube or whatever you want.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you guys again, and I'll keep you in the loop. I think the next month or so we should have some pretty exciting developments with a bunch of partnerships that have been in like the pipeline, and then ideally the launch of our DAO. And so just at a personal level, I'll let you guys know so you can tell everyone that owns a Hoot, so they stay on top of it, but always happy to talk about anything.
Great, Owls. Thank you so much. So everyone, that is CryptoHoots, one word, on OpenSea. I'm going to drop a link to the Discord and the OpenSea page in the general. So thank you guys for listening. R2, take us out.
Yeah, no, it was a great conversation. Super happy to have you here. And for anybody that stumbled into AlphaMint coming from the Owls Discord, please feel free to stick around. We do have lots of free stuff going on in the AlphaMint base camp. But if you're looking for a great community, not unlike the Owls one, and you're really looking to expand your NFT knowledge base or your participation, we do have our AlphaMint pass that's is on OpenSea as well. That gets you access to our gated community. We try and keep it very affordable, and it's honest to God just worth the price of admission, just from having the community. So I won't spend any more time giving you a sales pitch, but if you have any questions about what we are, feel free to just add me as a friend on Discord and give me a shout out, and we can talk till your heart's desire. So Owls, thank you so much for joining us here. For anybody that's tuned in late, or if you want to share it on your Discord, this is going to be going up on YouTube, and yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Thank you.